So our guest is an author of Armand's Tale and documentary creator of Windrush Children. I would like to welcome Armand Wisdom. Greetings and welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So we just had your first selection. Can you please tell us why you chose this selection?
Well, you can't have songs about inspirational black people without starting with Bob Marley, because he's done so much for black people, not only in the West Indies, in Africa, and he was just inspiration to a lot of people.
Most definitely. So with all of our guests, whenever we feature them on Reggae Uprising podcast, this heritage is vital to telling our story. Can you share with us your own heritage?
I'll be classed as second generation Windrush. My parents were both born here in Manchester, England. My grandparents came from Jamaica, 3 of them. 1 of them came from St. Kitts.
Okay.
They met over here. My mum's parents met over here. Fell in love over here.
So when you were growing up in your household, what were the musical influences from your parents and maybe your grandparents as well? What were the kind of songs they listened to? What kind of rings true in your head and reminds you of them? You might hear certain songs and think, yeah, that reminds me of.
Or like 18 with a Bullet reminds me of my grand uncle, because there was a kind of it was more like ska music they used to play back then.
In terms of what they shared with you with their journey, their story, and how they came to be in the UK, what did they share with you about that journey that you feel is important that you pass on as part of your own legacy for the next generation to hear?
Well, their journey it's like the world now, isn't it? Everybody's moving around the world to try and get a better life for themselves, but it doesn't always work out. Governments play tricks. See, that's another reason that Bob Marley always spoke about these things, like the government and how they play with the people and how people were manipulated into certain things. It's like when they invited us in the Windrush, it was Enoch Powell said to the West Indian people after World War II to come over, help build up the NHS and stuff like this. But their plan was really always to send them back. So when in the end they burnt all the boarding cards, it really was like, this is what you already had planned.
In terms of why your parents made the decisions that they did, and grandparents, what did they share with you about how they came to those decisions? Was it for work? Was it because family had told them about certain things? What was their experience in their journey?
When my granddad came here specifically, he was a qualified teacher, and he came over here and he ended up working in a sweets factory or something like this. Mm-hmm. Like they wouldn't. It's not like that film with Sidney Poitier where they're gonna let a black person teach white children. It wasn't like that back then. So he had to do whatever to provide for his family. It's not like before where people could come over and then claim the children are not over here. Mm-hmm. Back then you had to come, work, and then send for your children if you had children and stuff like this. So it was completely harder. He ended up working for British Steel for 50 or 60 years.
Phrases or traditions that were held in your household, can you share some of those with us? So they're like, maybe that you still use today or that remind you of your parents or grandparents or...
There's so many sayings. If you don't listen, you must fail. There's so many. But yeah, that would probably be the main one. Like, if you play with fire, you get burned. It's always stuff like this. If you don't listen, it's going to be a bad ending.
And with the experiences that they've had,
I'd say that's because of their communication skills. Like it's not like us now. Their communication skills, like they'll just tell you phrases or tell you passages from the Bible, and expect you to garner something out of it for it to teach you a lesson, rather than telling you what you did wrong and why they're telling you off.
We're going to go on to your next selection, which is The Melodians by the Rivers of Babylon. Please, can you share with us why you chose this selection?
That's our ancient journey. If you listen to the words, that was the ancient Hebrews that was brought out of Egypt. And this is an ancient song.
Do you think there's any connection between the experiences you had when you were younger and the experiences you had with the police? Do you think that they all interlink with each other?
Yeah, this is the system. The system sweeps certain people to cracks, and we can see this with society. It's like now with all this women's lib and disabled Olympics and stuff like that. So when we was growing up, they told you not to look at disabled people. Then they could create a whole industry where you got the most successful athlete in England's disabled dude that they pin up on a horse. and then they throw money at him, but yet they can't find money for jobs for normal people, and everything's being automated now. The whole world's a farce. It's like anyone with half a brain can see that.
And you mentioned earlier that you had interactions with the police in terms of what were those first interactions like, and how do you think that changed your day-to-day life?
Well, growing up, our parents and grandparents would never talk bad of the police, and because they were religious people, even though that they were still called coons and sambos and stuff outside, they would always say, "Oh, it's the police. You have to listen to the police and this and that," and they would always be on the side of the authorities. The TV and stuff like this is a powerful thing, isn't it? That they can demonize your own child in the bedroom next to the mum's bedroom, and that's the child that you raised your whole life. But these people watching TV all the time, they'll start to believe the stuff on the TV rather than the child that they grew up their whole life. Like that's my experience growing up. My mum would always believe everybody else, the teachers, the whoever.
So did your parents ever share with you, you mentioned some of the words that were used against them, did they ever share any of the stories, or did they keep that private?
No, only my granduncle told me stuff like this. My grandmother, she was in America, and my mum, she didn't really tell me anything about it.
So what did they share with you?
He just said how bad it was and how we complain and whine now. But like I say to my uncle, it's not. Back when you came here, they would call you names, but they would give you work. You get me? Now they keep you out of work. You get me? Like they can bring in all these foreigners, Eastern Europeans and stuff like that. They'll tell you, we want to check a 5-year history of you or 5-year criminal history. But when you getting these 5-year criminal histories from all these foreign countries, like then Interpol's not sending these people's criminal history and stuff like this. Like we know how many criminals that the government letting over the country, but what they talk about, the people on the borders on the boats, like that's nothing. But that's the stories that make the newspapers all the time. These people coming on rubber dinghies. That's not what's putting the wages down in England. It's all the cheap labour that you're shipping in.
So what do you feel like the solution is?
I say to black people all the time, we have to do stuff that's worked, that's proven what our ancestors already show us, and those things are boycotts. We have to boycott stuff. We have to boycott Adidas and Nike and all these racist companies and all these makeup companies and stuff like this. Why do we wear that and support all this stuff? But there's loads of other brands.
So you're obviously in support of the Black Pound and generating wealth in the community and keeping it within the community.
It's like what Mali and the Sahel region are doing right now. Why are not all the other African countries jumping on the same thing?
Can you explain that to people, for those that don't know? Because this is what this podcast is all about, is sharing the wisdom that we have.
Okay, in the Sahel regions, there was a so-called coup, and I'm not sure the leader, Tory, I think his name was, he took over in Guinea-Bissau, which was one of the poorest countries, and they united with Mali and Niger, and they're just doing stuff together now. Mm-hmm. Their own economy, their own foreign policy together. In fact, there was a story in the newspaper the other day, I think, where they, I'm not sure what country it was, but one of the countries was offended, so they all three withdrew their ambassadors and said they were not going to deal with them anymore. Like, how many weapons from Ukraine have been found over there? This is where our tax money goes. This is where our tax money goes as black people. When I'm saying to you about boycotting, it's like everywhere. Like in Gambia and places like this, we've got big populations there that are mistreated over there by the police and stuff like this. But they're not boycotting, paying tax. You're going to the airport, you have to pay money in and money to get out. There's no other country that I've ever been to where you have to pay money to get in and money to get out. But the money doesn't go to the people. It's criminal regimes all around the world. And when Trump says now, look, I'm going to put tariffs on people, people upset. But he's not even doing a reciprocal tariff, like what he's saying. Because if it was, it would be the same. You charge me 100%, I charge you 100%. You're charging him 100%, he's only going to say 50%. And people say, oh no, this ain't fair, this ain't fair economics. Why is this not fair? I'm just giving you an example. I'm talking about an example that would work all around the world. And if fairness is fairness, then why does Nike and these people still have children making trainers and stuff like this? And then saying, because that's one of the companies that took the biggest hit on the stocks, Nike, because they grow their stuff is in Thailand and Vietnam. Everybody knows that their Jordans and stuff are made by slave labor, but they still pay $200 for it, and the kids only getting what, 10 cents a day, 5 cents a day, who knows?
So do you feel a rebalance is coming?
No, not the way the numbers have worked. With what happened with COVID, the people that owned, what was it, 80% or 90% of the wealth of the world took another 5 or 8% of the wealth of the world. Everybody else is trapped. That's like we're all hamsters running on a hamster wheel.
What would you say the road to freedom is for people from your perspective?
Invest in Africa. Invest in Africa, innit? Go home, invest in Africa. Build businesses, build shops, sponsor the next generation of people who can't afford to pay school fees. Go and put boreholes. Donate your old clothing, old vehicles, books, anything.
Who are your biggest influences that have like inspired your journey and empowered you?
Dr. Khalid Mohammed, Amos Wilson, Dr. Henry Clark. I could listen to biblical scriptures as well. The Bible, the Quran, the Veda. It all depends. You're supposed to get strength from anything that you do, and like our ancestors know, God's in everything and in everyone, and in all living things. So if you just like to go and sit in your garden, watch your chickens run around, or play with your dog.
So moving on from your experiences with the system and institutions, how did you navigate from that? So where did your life's journey take you to next after that experience?
Becoming a young parent. Becoming a young parent puts a lot of pressure on you. You know, you have to change your outlook. Like, everything can't just be fast. Like, you have to plan for the future. You got people depending on you. Like, you got to set an example. Like, that was my turning point.
And what vocation did you choose?
Well, I was just a young father taking care of my son and making sure he had everything. It wasn't until my daughter was born I became a lorry driver. And then they were the inspiration for me to write my first story, Almond's Tale. So I was sitting there and I was watching nonsense on the TV. And I was saying, I can write a better story than this. So I started telling them a story and I thought it was good. Wrote it down. But now I've got like 10 stories. I just need to get another artist to draw the pictures and publish them.
Can you share with us more about that story? Like, if you had to sum it up?
Well, it's some people say it's like the Adam and Eve story. It's like God's promise, and that's what I can say. It's like the rabbit and the hare kind of story.
So what are the themes that run throughout the book?
Devotion and trying to follow a plan, and the plans don't always work out.
We're going to play another one of your selections, which is Peter Tosh, Not Gonna Give It Up. Please tell us why you chose this selection.
Well, the song speaks for itself, isn't it? Like, life's hard, you just have to keep on going and do what you can to inspire everybody else. And he's the dude that brought us Bob Marley, so you can't not have him in there.
From everything that you've experienced so far within your life's journey, what are the 3 pieces of advice that you would pass on to your own children?
Love each other. Well, they just live the example that I live, innit? You get me? Just love each other, be close with your siblings, be the example that you want everyone else to be, treat people how they treat you, and like always make your word to count. And
obviously, this show is all about continuing legacy. And what is the legacy that you hope that you achieve by the end of your life in order to pass on?
that I've built my mausoleum in Africa and we can all be buried together, or put in a mausoleum together, and where all our ancestors can come and see the pictures of us all there and sit and reminisce on us, like you're saying, with incense and listen to music, and we own that and it's there forever.
Would you like to share with our audience where they can find your works and support your works?
My work can be found at Blah Blah Man Publishing on YouTube.
Final selection is Sizzler, Solid as a Rock. Would you like to share with us why you chose this selection, please?
Oh, this is how you are. This is how Jamaican men are, and I love this song. So.
Thank you ever so much for sharing your life's journey and your works and all of your experiences. Thank you so much.